Gloria Madrano podcast. What's going on, everybody? Tune in with me for a second. I have kind of a big announcement to make. I'm laughing, I'm giggling. I am still kind of in awe, in shock a little bit, and a bit giggly because well, I wrote a book. And you can find it, and it's on Amazon, and it is called Monocross to Mystery. I'll show you right now. So I wrote a book. It's called Monocross to Ministry. You can find it on Amazon. And it basically tells a little bit about my story. And it was written with you all in mind because it shares a little bit about, my former life that quite a lot of people didn't really know about because I didn't really talk about it. I kind of just ended that life when I became a Christian and when I started, serving God, and my focus was different. But I kind of am revisiting it because now I have grandchildren, and my own children really only got to see me ride once in the desert, thanks to some kids that took us out there and trusted me enough to let me ride their motorcycles. But and I shocked my kids. I really did. I didn't. I mean, they heard the stories. My dad used to tell them stories. My mom didn't really talk about that life much, really not at all. But my dad did, and my dad shared a lot about, that. And so I wanted to share that with you and leave a legacy really to my grandkids and to all of those who maybe left their former life behind, and now maybe you're revisiting it in a different light, in a different realization. Maybe you are wanting to write a book. Maybe you are, thinking about a legacy that you want to leave behind and the story that is your personal story. And so I wrote this book with all of you in mind, thinking about, how you would receive the book, hear the book, and, relate it to your own life and story. I am now an author. I've been a pastor and a chaplain for, over 40 years. I'm celebrating nearly 40 be properly 40 years in September. And so that tells you I'm not young. And so I do have 5 grandchildren. And I have a daughter who's getting married right quickly here. And so, this was kind of, I had always wanted to write a book, and it was always in me to do it. As I like to tell stories, and and when I'm teaching my lessons, I kind of go off on side notes here and there. Telling a lot of stories about other people, about myself, and the things that I have encountered along this lifetime. And the story isn't ended. It kind of leaves, an open door to, add more to the chapters, like our lives which is like our lives. We continue to add chapters to our life and story. I'm a forever learner. There are, people, young people coming up, and, they have amazing things to give to this world, such as my own grandchildren who are, just very small still, and they are coming of age and bringing their own thing. My oldest grandchild, she's going to be turning 18 really soon here. But the baby is barely turning, like 3. And then, I have my grandson that I feel like he's like my child, because he lived with me and everything. And so, he's big. Really close. I'm really close to him, who moved to Redding, California. And I share a lot with him. I give a lot of my life to him, and want him to have some of the things that I've learned along the way. And so I, am happy to share with you all about the book, Motocross to Ministry. And it's about my former years of, going into riding motocross and some of the challenges and things. But not just that, but it also gives some of the life experiences and also how you can relate to overcoming some of the obstacles along the way. And what do you see? What do you envision? That's kind of a replica photograph of me overlooking San Diego, kind of like up near Point Loma on the point there. And I mean, many drawings have been drawn about me, and lots of them I have lost throughout the years of travels and things. And one of my favorite ones was of me riding a motocross through it shows me sitting on my bike overlooking the mountains and the beaches and stuff. And someone drew that, and I lost that, but I wish I still had that. It was amazing, amazing drawing. But I just want to encourage you, and this is the book, it's on Amazon, but I want to encourage you to, find the things that are within inside of you that you bring to the world, because we all have something. And even if it's, you bringing something, because people feel left out. If they don't have grandkids to leave a legacy, they feel left out. But I have to say that I have seen people in that position where they, volunteered in places where someone needed, a grandparent, kids that don't have grandparents, and those kinds of things. I actually only really had my grandmother, because my grandfather on both sides, they both died really young. So when I was coming up of age, I didn't really know them well. I just have little glimpses of them, but I don't remember stories or anything. The only one that made the biggest impact was my grandmother on my mom's side, and she always cooked from scratch. Even till the day she turned blind, she was still feeling. She still knew by memory and feeling of how to do the ingredients and even how to cook. And so that in itself tells you the years and years and years of cooking. And so, a lot of us, my cousins and a lot of us kids, we have grown up with the passion to cook. And so I love to cook. That's a part of me. I love to watch people eat my food and enjoy it. I wasn't really particularly I didn't really particularly grow up in a home, my immediate home, where we all sat down and ate together. I mean, I remember a few times where we tried to sit down and eat together. That didn't go very well. But, I do remember my aunt on my dad's side who used to have, dinners for holidays and things. A lot of people come over for dinner around her giant table. And so she would, properly, do a sit-down dinner with fine china and all of that. And that made a big impact on me, and I was just a little kid at the time, just observing, conversations and listening to stories. And, I had some of my favorite people that I would really love their stories. And then some were like the annoying people, you had the family members that there's always that one person and you're like, oh no, don't let him talk, because he really didn't have anything to say. It's just a lot of bragging. um, so, um, you know, uh, I just, am so like happy, and I'm getting ready to celebrate. Not just first and foremost, it's my children are now going to be all married. So the last one, she's going to be getting married in September. I will do a little mini celebration, and then after the wedding, I'll be doing a bigger celebration where it will be open to the public to come and celebrate. Being that I am a chaplain, a minister, and things, I will have a surprise guest speaker, just because I like to have the surprise guest speakers, because I am the small, intimate kind of, I want to be very impactful and very, organic in the way that I bring my life together. So, and I do that with my friends and, family members and things like that. And so not everyone is going to like what I do or what I say, but there are people that need and want what I have to bring to the table. So, and those are the people that want to come alongside, want to come, and learn, and just be around, the things that I do. And, organically, I will share. I'm beginning to start to share some things with some friends who are becoming more and more interested in some of the things that I have to say or teach. Because sometimes your friends, they don't realize that you have some, some depth, or, some things that you can bring to teach them. You're just friends, right? You're just hanging out, and, they know of you and know what you do, but there's no realization of, how could that help me, right? You just naturally do that together. You naturally are encouraging to one another and there for one another, right? But now it's coming to, there's a realization of, hey, this girl, like, got something, which is cracking me up, right? Like, I've always done this. Like, I'm telling friends, some of you might relate to this, in business and in life and everything. And you're like, I've always been doing this. Did you not know? And your friends are like, I never realized. So, I know it sounds funny and it sounds silly. So I am going to leave this, live here with you. And then the other thing I want to leave you with is that I'm going to come back again with a new series of lessons. That while we be finding a date. I'm not sure. I'm always not sure if I want to go back to Sunday nights, and how that is receiving, or if if a lot of people can receive that on a Sunday night, and especially my schedule as well, because I do still work a full-time job. I run a full-time ministry. I have grandkids and all the things. So, and I just wrote a book. How? I don't know. I just I was home for 3 days. I mean, the book has already been noted, and it wasn't easy. It was easy for me to kind of already have the content, because it's a lot of content about what I teach and how to help people overcome obstacles and do what they're called to do, which we call discipleship, which is basically just teaching one another in a more close-knit manner. But in this, I just kind of said it needs to, it was just go time. And I don't know if you've ever felt this before, but like if you're an entrepreneur and you have that kind of personality, sometimes it's just go time, and it's just, that's it. It just clicks, and you're like in a zone. I call it the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is just taking, really intensely moving through you, and you're just kind of following that guiding, and you just start to go with that, and I had no clue how to do that. I had no clue. Now I do. Now I know. And now the next book is coming up. So I said I could do this. I already have it all like scripted and stuff, in a manuscript. Is that what it's called? And so that's already in the making. And then to fill the pages, add more chapters to this mini book. So I encourage you, go check it out. Give me a good review. Don't give me any negative reviews. Give me good reviews, okay? But, and then be looking for our next series of lessons on YouTube, and I will give you the time and date, which I will be, once we give that time and date, that will be it for throughout the series of lessons that I will be doing. And then, there's a lot of stuff on YouTube that you can go through and look at, also on podcast, things like Spotify and, Apple Podcasts and all those, iHeartRadio and all those popular ones. If you're just out and about and you just want to listen. And, what do I teach on, and how does it help you? Why would you want to do that? I mean, a lot of people are curious. They're curious about, especially like a lot of people that have known me throughout the years, which are hundreds of thousands of people that have known me throughout the years, because I've done a lot of traveling and a lot of speaking into people's lives. And so they're curious about, my, what my life is doing at the moment, and, how to glean from me at a distance, because I'm not in their personal space anymore. I lived in London, traveled, to Spain and Portugal and all kinds of different places all over Europe, Rome, Italy, Poland, just so many places. I can't even think of them. Hawaii, and I love my friends over in Hawaii, Maui, and met some wonderful people there. And I still have, a friend who I consider, her to be kind of becoming a close friend of mine, who used to live here in San Diego, and then she moved over to Maui, and now she's on a different area. But then I met some other friends who were affected by the wildfires and stuff, and I care about people, and so I keep in contact and things like that. There are people that, young people who I've, seriously impacted their lives just by making cookies. I know, right? There are so many people around the world who, if they have come to my house, they probably have had my cookies, which is kind of funny, but, or any of my homemade food from scratch. You know, I used to have burrito Sundays, and that was just my home. I just had an open house on that day, just for that day for a couple of hours, and we did burrito Sunday where I just did burritos, bean and cheese burritos. That was it. It was just cheap. You all know, if you live in California, you've probably had a bean and cheese burrito, and they're just cheap. But in England, it was like, it was a treat, because people didn't eat like that. That wasn't like the traditional food. And it was a treat to come to my house, and just be around me, and my home was open to everyone. There was some jealousy going on there, and that people didn't get an invite and stuff. But the invite was everybody was welcome. It was open to everyone, and so if you felt jealous, I am sorry, but you were always welcome to come. And so, I am the kind of person that I just am a natural born encourager. I just, I kind of push people ahead of me, and push them even in front of me sometimes. I like to be in the background, but I am seeing more and more that, I get pushed to the front, and that is necessary, because there's something that is needed that I bring to the table. And I mean, I will go with that. I don't know, where that takes me a lot of times, but, I'm seeing that it's actually taken me around the world pretty much. So hey, this is Gloria Medrano, from Heart of the City, San Diego, and the Gloria Medrano podcast. And I'm announcing my new book, Motocross to Ministry. Go check it out. You can find it on Amazon. And, you could also just Google my name, Gloria Medrano, and you'll find all the things that I do. And I hope that somehow, some way, this can help you, like my life has, to many, many people around the world. I have given my life to service, to serve as a servant leader. And I hope that this leaves, it's not done. The chapters aren't done, obviously, but, the legacy that will go to my grandchildren, is more than, than the weight of riches and gold. So legacy is more than all of that. I love you guys. My next book coming out is called The Legend of Big Joe, who is my father. And it's basically, I'm wanting it to be a children's book. I'm not sure how it's playing out at the moment, because it kind of goes. It also can be a really fascinating, adventurous book for everyone, actually. So, with that in mind, I have you all in mind. And I'll let you guys go for now. I love you guys, and thanks for being here. Thanks for your love and support in all the years that I've been YouTubing. I do get subscribers each and every time that I go live. And I'm so like blessed by that. I get really excited about that, and grateful because, just like you all curiously looking, I was that person curiously looking, and then something said to me, you have 40 years of experience. You don't have to curiously look. You have something to give. And so do you as well. Okay. So go out there and do your thing. Okay. All right. I'll let you guys go. I love you. Bye. See, I'm going to reach up here.